It has been a while since we've done one of these. The last time I did it was when I was in Austria, and you guys met some amazing female founders on my trip. So today I am sitting with the beautiful and to me the incredible Zulé from Locum Base. And she's going to share her journey with us. And I think it's an incredible journey from moving from Joburg to Cape Town and also just starting Locum Base. I think there's a pretty awesome story there, as well as she calls herself an accidental tech entrepreneur. So I love that she's going to share that with us. Zulé.
Thank you for having me. It's always great to spend time with you.
I love spending time with you too.
It's always good to be here. It's like a little home away from home.
Oh, guys, isn't she just sweet? She's so sweet. So talk to us a little bit about where you grew up, where you're from.
Well, I spent my formative years in Johannesburg. So I went to primary school and high school in Joburg. So I've definitely got that Joburg inside me.
Right.
And once it's inside you, it doesn't leave. You know that.
Yeah, you can tame it a little bit.
you can maybe train it. I don't know if you can tame it. So grew up in Joburg, and after school, adventure was the name of the game. I had and still have this intense passion for traveling and seeing the world and getting to know different people from different places.
It changes you, doesn't it?
Definitely.
It changed me. I just know that most of my education has come from traveling.
Yes, definitely. That's how I feel. Like I feel like my university was the world, and the people that I met in these different places that I lived in, that I traveled to, different countries, different cities, small towns, villages. You know, it's the education you receive from meeting so many people who are in different spaces than you is unbeatable.
It's incredible, guys. So yes, I think maybe the first tip for today is if you can travel and keep it local. I loved hanging with the locals because you just learn so much more about the real culture and people on the ground. So don't be a tourist and do touristy things.
Don't be a tourist. You can be a tourist, in a very short time. You can do all the touristy things in a place in about one day.
Yeah.
Go find locals. Go find the places locals hang out at. Go to small towns. Go to small villages where people don't speak English. Believe me, you'll learn a new language just like that because you have to.
It is.
It's definitely a great way to learn about people and what people's drives are. And when you can understand what people's drives are and what they truly want out of life, then you can build cool things to help them.
That is so true. But don't you think that it also introduces you to you? Like I was introduced to Anta real quick.
You learn about what you're made of.
Right.
You know, when you're in a situation where you can't speak the language, you can't even read what that says, and you need to figure out where to go, where to eat, where to sleep. It shows you what you're made of.
Right. And it's amazing. So please, lesson number 1 already, travel, explore.
It's not expensive.
Yeah,
you can travel for very cheap.
Yeah.
Very cheap.
You don't have to do 5-star and business class. Like
it's much more interesting to go do stuff like volunteer and go live with people, go live with locals and go learn about their life. Very cheap, plus they feed you, so it helps.
So talk to me about moving to Cape Town. I know, love. You know, my niece said to me, Auntie Anta, so how's it going in Cape Town? Actually, she doesn't call me Auntie Anta. She just says Anta. How's Cape Town? Have you fallen in love? I said, baby girl, it wasn't love at first sight, but now I am completely in love with the city. How was it for you, though?
That's interesting. I'm almost at the opposite experience, where the first time I really spent time in Cape Town, I was about 21 years old. And I fell in love. It was love at first sight. And I knew that this is the place where I have to get to. I have to get here because the right people are here for me. This is the place where I have to come. And I was compelled to find a way.
Yeah.
And it took me another 10 years before I actually managed to find a way to get myself here and to get to a place where I can build a life here. So after growing up in Joburg and traveling all over the world and seeing interesting places, I finally figured out a way to come to Cape Town, but we had to make a pit stop in between. So we made a pit stop in a very small town, close to the southern tip of beautiful Africa. Bredasdorp is what it's called.
Yeah.
Beautiful little town. If you ever close by, go for a visit.
I need to go check it out.
You need to. Have you been to the southern tip?
I have. It's
Did you just drop? Did you blink and then you missed Bredasdorp? Because it happens. It's okay. Everybody knows it happens. Even the people who live there also understand that it happens.
Okay.
But next time,
it's on the list.
Next time, stop, park your car, take a walk through. It's not going to take you long. And it was a very interesting experience going from Johannesburg to a small town like Bredasdorp, where we spent 18 months as a pit stop on the way to Cape Town, because it really gave me the opportunity and the space there in the middle of nowhere to get these ideas of building and how I would want to build Locum Base. Working on the process, working on the ideation, working on the finer details of what is needed in this industry. And having the time and the space to do the research and ask the questions.
So let's take a step back. Locum Base.
Locum Base.
Yes. So the idea was born in Bredasdorp or Joburg?
Actually, the idea, the little seed was planted way back in 2014 already.
Wow.
When my partner Tanya and I, we actually started another business, a different business. And while we were building this business, it's called OV Optics, Tanya, who's an optometrist, she was locuming. Now, a locum is a freelance medical professional.
Okay.
So just like you get freelance creatives, you get freelance doctors, optometrists, pharmacists who are called up by pharmacies or practices or clinics, hospitals to come and stand in for a professional that's maybe ill or going on holiday or taking a day off. And it's usually like a short term and at short notice type of situations.
Okay.
So while we started the other business, OV Optics, Tanya was locuming. And that's how we started seeing the problems in the industry. So we saw it from a locum perspective.
Okay.
And not only from a practice perspective where it traditionally has been looked at from.
So this was 2014.
This was 2014, where we started thinking, there must be a better way to do this. There's got to be a better way to do this.
Okay.
So we created a very basic PHP little calendar for Tanya online, where she could set her availability, and practices that needed her could go check if she's available there. And then that took away the almost the discomfort of taking a phone call from a practice and then having to say no to them because they ask you, hi, are you available tomorrow? And then one of two or three things happen. Firstly, you say no, sorry, you're not available. But then if you're a practitioner and the practice calls you twice and you say no twice, they're not going to phone you again.
Okay.
Right? So there's that problem.
So you're missing out on an opportunity.
You're missing out on an opportunity. Secondly, as a practice, often they have a list of a bunch of people that they call on when these situations happen, but it takes them 2-3 hours to call everybody on this list, and then still at the end of the day, they still don't get a yes. Okay. Because people aren't available, because people are already booked. So we needed to find a way to take the time wastage away. Okay. The first thing was the time that's being wasted and the discomfort that is around this process. So making a very basic, simple online calendar where all the information can be viewed by a practice saves a lot of time for the practice and saves a lot of discomfort for the practitioner. So we started this and we started talking to people about it, and other people came to us to ask us, can you make me something like this? Okay. That's really clever. Why don't you do something bigger out of this? So the more conversations we had with practices and with individuals who are working as locums, the more we realized that there's definitely a good opportunity here, a business opportunity. So the next phase of that was actually doing the research and figuring out what the potential is of this, not only as a useful tool for practices and practitioners, but in a greater sense, how this could affect healthcare as a whole. Wow. And that's what I spent most of my time doing in Bredasdorp. Okay, so now we're back in Bredasdorp. So there you are sitting in this tiny town. Beautiful. What happens? Yeah, okay, I must go check it out. Very open, lots of space to think. At the same time, I was also recovering from an injury that I picked up from a mountain biking accident. So
oh no! And you're that adventurous like mountain
I don't mountain
biking.
bike anymore. Now I surf, so that when I fall down, it's into water.
Okay,
It's a lot much
surfing.
safer.
Maybe that should go on my list as well.
Just try.
Surfing.
Joburg people who come to Cape Town must learn how to surf. It's an unwritten rule.
Love. It's hiking, it's surfing. The Joburg girl in me is like,
All this outside. What are you doing with all this outside?
Please.
Joburg people like being inside. It's so true. Yeah, so while I was recovering from this injury and in this beautiful open little town, there was lots of space for thinking and lots of space for research, and it came to a point where I was coming to Cape Town for 2-3 days out of every week.
Okay.
While Tanya was still in Bredasdorp, so there was lots of traveling involved, and I knew that it is now time. We need to make a plan. We have to get ourselves to Cape Town. That is where we need to be. That's where the people are that I need to work with. The people I need to learn from are there. The people that can help me. The people that can guide me. That's where they are.
Whoa, love. Okay, so then you moved to Cape Town in Feb last year.
Yeah, so we came to Cape Town beginning of last year. And having done business here before and spending 2-3 days out of a week here for a couple of months, I'd already started noticing that business is done very differently in Cape Town than it's done in Joburg. Very differently.
Love, yeah. The lay of this land, the lay of this land, is very different.
Very, very different.
Yeah.
I like it more.
I do too now.
It is difficult to get used to though, and I don't think I'm completely used to it yet. But I think as you say, the gentleness and the calmness in Cape Town is in direct contrast with the urgency and the go attitude in Joburg. In Joburg, you set an hour meeting, and if you're done in half an hour, you try and be half an hour. It's like yes, done. In Cape Town, you set an hour meeting, but you have to prepare for 2 hours because for that first hour we're going to talk about wine and coffee and food,
hiking and
surfing and family, and then we're going to get to business, and then business is really like 15-20 minutes, and then you talk about all those things again. Because there's always space to talk about wine. Always.
But on that note, love, I think the one thing I do appreciate about Cape Town is that it is deeply relational.
Very, and I like that about it because it's very human. It's very the humanistic approach to business in Cape Town is something that
resonates with me.
It resonates deeply because businesses are built by people,
absolutely,
not by machines. Yes, we use technology and we use machines to make things more effective, but ultimately, business is built by people for people.
Absolutely.
And often we lose that mindset, and then it becomes impersonal, and that's when you lose your tribe. That's when you lose your clients, your customers. That you're
rushing and you're chasing. And so for me, as a Joburg girl, I think the biggest transition from Joburg to Cape Town was learning how to be relational, learning how to collaborate, learning how to not focus so much on getting things done, but working with people to get things done.
Yes, that's such a good way of saying it.
Right?
It's not about getting things done, it's about working with people to get things done.
And that was a massive change for me, a paradigm shift of note. Now, as a Joburg girl, I could have fought that and been like, no, let's get things done, we must get things done. But I had to respect the lay of this land. Yeah,
because it works differently. And I think it's important to understand how it works differently, but also taking your Joburgness and the specialness of that and bringing it into this space to make things even more effective.
Absolutely.
To make your communication more effective.
Absolutely. Okay, so now you are in Cape Town. You've moved here. What happens?
Well, when we just got to Cape Town, my mission for last year, when we just got here, was to find my people. That was in the most shortest sense, find my people.
Okay.
On the one hand, it was finding the right people for Locum-based to work with me on Locum-based. So to find the right technology experts, the right programmers, the right coders to keep it really short. And also to find the right business minds and the right mentors for me and the right guides for me.
Okay.
So last year I almost made networking my job.
Okay.
Networking was my job. And it was quite a difficult thing for me because people who know me now or who've gotten to know me in the last 2 years or so would never say it or even guess it, but I'm actually quite shy and I'm actually quite introverted and I've got like a bit of a social anxiety thing going. But you never said no because I taught myself how to just get in there and do what you need to do. And it's made me a stronger, better person. We often have this fear of putting ourselves out there because we have fear of being judged, or you have this childhood fear of being laughed at because somebody's going to say your idea is stupid. So what?
Yeah.
Then you go to the next person. Then you go to the next one and the next one. Fear is just an invisible concept that doesn't really exist. So for me, getting over that social fear, that thing of just going up to a stranger that you admire from afar or whose work you respect, and actually making a connection. Yeah, it's one of the most beautiful things.
Oh, you can say that again.
Making a connection with somebody whose mindset is similar to yours and who you can learn from. Yeah, it's maybe my favorite thing to do.
And so Zulé and I met on that note. Zulé and I met at Startup Grind when I spoke at Startup Grind in October last year, and we connected, I think, immediately. And I don't know if it was that Joburg in me sees the Joburg in you. I recognize you. But we connected immediately, and it's been an incredible journey for me to watch her grow. Just from October to now. And she'll share a little bit more in a minute. But just for a second, we want to say hi to Bainan de Vries. He says, let's go, Zulé.
Hi, Bainan. Thanks for your message. Thanks for your support too.
Oh, love. So there you are. You found your tribe. You're plowing away. You're building the platform. And then what?
Then, going from ideation and wireframes and art design and your process on a piece of paper to actually making a working machine, two completely different things.
Right.
Lots of fun in between though.
Okay.
But also very challenging, especially if you don't come from a technical background. Especially if you're not somebody who has a very deep understanding of coding and programming and writing software.
Okay.
So apart from the mission of finding the right mentors and the right guides for me, it was finding the right programmers for me. That was quite also a journey, speaking to many different people in the space, many different development individuals and development companies. You have to resonate with them. That's resonate with you. You have to have a connection. Yeah. Don't just pick anybody. Talk to a lot of people about this. Talk to a lot of coders about this. Yeah. Because the people that you team up with to build your technology, you're going to work together very closely and you're going to become really tight, and you want it to be people that you like, people that you respect, people whose work you respect. Don't just pick the first one you see off a Google search. That's what I would say.
So did you go through a dating process though?
I did, yes. Yeah. I did go through a dating process with that. I met a couple of different dev houses and had conversations with them, and I could quickly figure out if these were people that I wanted to work with or not. Sometimes it's not something you can really put your finger on, but there's something that, in your gut that tells you maybe these people aren't for me. And that's fine, because sometimes you are not for everybody and everybody's not for you, and that's fine. It just means that you're one step closer to finding the right one.
Absolutely.
Just like with dating.
And ladies, Taryn, Stacey, we see you clapping hands. Yay!
Hi, Taryn.
On that note, for Taryn specifically perhaps, it is, as women, that's our superpower. You can't quite put your finger on it, but you just know.
You just know. Just trust your guts. Trust your guts. You've got your head, you've got your heart, and you've got your guts. Do business with your head.
Yeah.
Love your people with your heart. But when you get that message from your gut, listen to it too.
Oh,
it means
so
something.
Important.
It definitely means something.
So important.
Eventually, I did find the right people. Yeah. And I knew the moment I walked into a meeting room to meet them for the first time, I saw these three young gentlemen, Mike and Aiden and Keelan, and I immediately knew that these guys we're gonna walk around.
They're the one.
They're the one. All three of them are the one. Yes. And I met them in July last year. Yeah. And we had a bit of a dating process first for about 3-4 months. Yeah. actually longer, until November. And at the beginning of November, really, we decided, yes, we are definitely for each other.
Wow.
So it wasn't, we did a lot of talking in between, did a lot of getting to know each other, because never forget that the people you work with, you're going to be spending more time with them than you're spending with your partner or with your family.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to get along with these people, and they have to have the skills that you need.
Absolutely.
So we teamed up with them, and they are building the amazing technology behind Locum Base that connects medical professionals and practices with each other.
And you know what I love? So for most female founders, we find it difficult to collaborate and partner because there's a little bit of a control freak in all of us, right? So we just a tiny bit.
Those that know me would say, yeah, like a little bit, like this much.
So we find it difficult to let go of some equity. Like we want to hold on to the entire pie because we want to control the entire pie and we want to control the process. So I think what I love about what you did, Love, is that immediately you went, these guys are going to add significant value to me building the kind of startup that I want. If it means letting go of some equity, I'm more than happy to do that. What was that process like for you?
Well, for me, from the beginning of Locum Base, I already knew that this is something that I'm building to share. From the start out, I had the idea in my mind was never, this is mine, this is all mine. It was always something made to share with the right people, to build the right team with the right people. And being in the space that I was, I didn't have money to go pay a development company. So I had to make a different plan. And, people always say giving up equity, which is it puts such a negative connotation on that. Where we should actually look at it as sharing equity.
Absolutely.
Because who you let into your circle there, together you own this cake, But together you could bake a much bigger cake than you can on your own. Now, you can either have a cupcake or you can have a slice of a three-tier, huge, massive chocolate ganache, spectacular masterpiece. And I would much rather have that and share that big cake with the right people than have a little cupcake all to myself that is not achieving the goal that we have in mind for it.
I love that. So I think you've already probably given our listeners 3 lessons so far. The first was travel.
Yes.
And not like a tourist. The second was find your tribe. And now the third one is be open to sharing equity, not give up. So maybe that's a change that most of us have to go through, is that you need to share equity in order for you to grow your business. So in November, you then decide, okay, we've dated for a while, let's meet at the end of the aisle and just make this official. So
that's pretty much how it goes. So then we got business married, and it's been an amazing journey from there on. On a business development side, we had an MVP that we created, and we put that in the market to start testing it, to see, putting it into practices, putting it into optometry practices, because you can ask people loads of questions and they can give you answers of what they think they will do in a situation, right? If you ever ask someone a question, what would you do if you're in a hijacking? They think they know what they're going to do. Nobody knows what they're going to do. Same thing with this in a business and a product. People can tell you what they think they're going to do or think they're going to need, but only when you put it into their space to use it can you actually really ascertain what they actually need and what they're actually using. So we then put this MVP into optometry practices and got practices to start using it and got locums to start using it so that we could learn, if this feature that we put in that we thought was really cool, maybe they don't even look at it. And maybe there's something else that we didn't even think about that they really, really need. And I think that is a vital part of any project, of any business. If you have an idea or you have a prototype, go to your intended market and ask them if they actually want it. Because sometimes you think of something and you think it's really, really awesome, but the people you actually want to sell it to don't need it at all, don't want it at all, or want it differently. And that's how you find out what they want. By asking them, making them use it, and then seeing what is useful to them or not.
And that's so different to what Steve Jobs said a couple of years ago, that people don't know what they want, so you just give them what you think they need, right? And that's, I think, when he developed the iPod. So I like this because earlier in the week, we took our female founders that's on the Rise Scalerator through a workshop called The Power of Design Thinking. And one of the things that Letabo kept stressing was to interact with your user base. Ask questions, and take the feedback that they give you as part of the design thinking process. So I love that you went through that process, Love.
You can only make assumptions to a point, right? You can only make assumptions to a point, but you have to go to your market. You have to go to your market and show them what you have. Otherwise, you're going to spend loads of time and probably loads of money on something that's then perfect in your mind according to your assumptions. And then you go to your market and they say, actually, we want it completely different. And then you have to spend more time and more loads of money. And it's then a waste. Rather get your information and get your feedback directly from your market.
There's another lesson, guys. Speak to your market. It's simple. It sounds simple, but most of us don't, right? Because you think that you've got this, you've nailed it.
You never do.
Yeah.
I don't think you ever got this.
No.
Just when you think you do, then you actually know you don't.
Yeah. And you need your tribe around you to tell you.
You need the right people around you to tell you to just bring it a little bit back, bring it back in.
Exactly, love.
Don't forget the value of the people around you who are honest with you and who give you constructive feedback. Because a lot of people are just gonna tap you on the back and say, "Good job," but you have to have those honest people around you to keep you grounded.
Yeah, and I guess people that can see you, right? So even if the facade is up, your people should be able to say, "Okay, sweetie, I see through that. I see right through that. What's really going on?"
You do that for me, and I very much appreciate that. Everybody needs an answer in their life.
Oh, love.
I don't mind sharing.
But it's been such a pleasure working with you, I must say. So then Zulé and I think it was November, we started getting you pitch perfect.
Yes. You helped me with my. I've had some great help with getting myself pitch ready and getting myself investor ready, which is a process. When you think about starting a business, especially if it's an accidental business, where you don't necessarily come from a business background or you don't have corporate experience, you aren't always aware of the different stages and the different phases that you're going to go through.
Yeah.
And it's very important to find your people who have gone through these stages so that they can guide you and so that they can push you a little bit in the right direction. I do believe every journey is a unique one, and there are no maps. There's no maps for your journey. No. But there are people who can share their journey with you, and you can always learn a lesson out of it.
Absolutely.
And after going through the ideation stage, getting a tech partner, putting our MVP in the market so that we can prove that this thing actually works and that people really want it. Talk
to me about that first practice. What was the first practice? The
first practice was a I don't know if I can say it.
Okay.
I think I'm allowed.
Okay.
So we tested our first taste practice was a optometry practice in a shopping mall, in a big shopping mall in Tiger Valley. Their name is Savers and Specs in it, and
those guys,
and they were integral in the process of learning what it is that a practice needs. So what a practice needs out of a platform like this.
Okay.
And Lance, the principal there, he said to me that he hates computers and he always feels like he doesn't know what he's doing and he feels like they're trying to trick him all the time. And if I can make something that's really easy for Lance to use, then I know that I've done what I set out to do with this system.
Okay.
And every time I go back to Lance to get feedback from him, my favorite thing to hear out of his mouth is, "That was so easy."
Wow.
And when I get that, then I know I'm on the right track.
Love that. So you were saying that so we're getting your pitch ready.
Yes,
right?
so we're getting your pitch ready, and you helped me a great deal with that. And I also have along with the social anxiety, the whole standing up in front of 2 or 3 people is very daunting to me, but standing in front of like 50 people is okay. So, getting to that point where I feel comfortable to pitch my business and have a pitch deck that illustrates what it's all about was an interesting time. My very first pitch deck is super embarrassing if I think about it now. Really, really embarrassing. I have it somewhere, but I try not to look at it. And the second was much better. The third one was great. So if you're not embarrassed by the first version of your pitch deck, then you are pitching too late. That's a nice one. Be a good way to look at it. So I also got a lot of help with the pitch deck and the information in my pitch deck, because you as the person pitching this idea, you sometimes feel like you have to put so much in there because you need to explain stuff. Yeah, but
I remember that.
You also need to give your audience credit. The people that you're speaking to, they're in a mindset of growth and they're in a mindset of opportunity. So you need to give them credit that they can also think further. That you don't have to put every single detail in there, because you are there to answer questions. Exactly. You are there to speak about it more. So you helped me a great deal with that. Catherine, another mentor of mine, she also helped me a great deal with that. Getting the right information and getting, you want to put enough in there so that you elicit questions because you want to start a conversation. Here's
an important thing, I think, in terms of that pitching process, love, is getting negative feedback. And as the founder, what do you do with that in that moment of getting that feedback, right? How did you manage that? Because we can be so hard on ourselves. We can walk in there thinking, I've got this, my I's are dotted, my T's are crossed, I've got this. And then someone says, no, you don't. What do you do in that moment?
I think the very first thing that you need to remember is to not take it personally.
There we go.
This is not about you as a person. It's not about you as a person at all. Don't take it personally. Take that feedback. And when you're talking to the right people, that feedback will be constructive. And don't see it as negative, see it as useful.
Absolutely.
It's constructive feedback that is given to you so that you can use it to make things better. That's why they're giving it to you. If they didn't care, they wouldn't say anything.
Right? And that's the thing that most female founders need to understand, is that we care. We care about you, and this is why we're giving you the right tools and the right advice and guidance for you to tweak, to pivot, to change things, because we care. We want to see you grow. So it's definitely not personal. Thank you for that.
It's really not personal, and it's hard to not take it personally when somebody really criticizes this thing that you've been working on so hard.
Baby.
And you looked at it and you were like, yes, this is awesome. This pitch deck is amazing. I'm going to get 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10. And then it was actually quite funny that I said 9 out of 10, because Catherine would take my pitch deck and she would go through it and then she'll give me a mark out of 10. And then she said to me, okay, when you're at 9, you're ready. And I said to her, I think I need to be at 9.5, maybe 10, then I'm ready. And then she also said to me, don't be so hard on yourself. Because I'm very hard on myself, and today again you reminded me to not be so hard on yourself. Be gentle, do the work, take the feedback, don't take it personally, and just go for it. Be confident in what you're making and what you're presenting, because you've gotten this far. You can't stop now.
And that's what I had to keep reminding you of, is that this is an amazing idea. I might not be a locum, I might not own a practice, but if I had $1 million or 2 rands in the bank, I would throw it at you, because it just made sense to me. It just made sense, right? So I had to keep reminding you that it is an amazing idea. So the idea is solid. It was just, I think, those initial pictures was just the delivery and the way that you were getting the idea across.
The way the information is put across. Because you need to, the people that you're going to be speaking to when it comes to pitching your business, they don't have a lot of time, firstly, and you need to respect that. Secondly, remember that they are in a mindset of growth. They are in a mindset of building business, so they can put the building blocks together very quickly. Remember that. You're speaking to very intelligent people.
I love that. I love that. So now you pitch perfect, pitch ready. you go out and you just start chatting to people. What happens next?
So again, you go back onto the networking bandwagon and you talk to a lot of people and do research on if you're in that stage of wanting investments and taking on investments in return for equity share. You have to do the research on the types of investors you want and specifically who you want.
Yeah,
because there are also different types of investors who are focused on different types of businesses, and you want somebody who's going to support your business and your mission.
Absolutely.
And if you do the research on the individuals or the VC company that you're targeting, you can also have such a better conversation with them. So
you made your shortlist?
I made my shortlist, yes. So
Mm-hmm.
so I had a shortlist, and I shared my shortlist with those that have been mentoring me and have been guiding me. And where they could, they introduced me to the right people. And, that's why networking and creating trust is a big thing. Because often the right people for you, you will only find them through other people.
Oh, especially in Cape Town. Yes.
Especially in Cape Town, yes.
Yeah.
Especially in Cape Town. So I shared my shortlist, and again, my mentor Catherine, she wrote an awesome email to some of those on my shortlist, just explaining a little bit about me and about Locum Base and what we're doing. And I started to meet with potential investors. The 1st of February was actually my very first investor meeting.
2018.
Yes, so
a couple
just
of months ago. Yeah.
And then I started the process of speaking with potential investors, which is, you think it's daunting, and it is, because for me, it's like I was speaking to these people who I've been admiring from a distance. People whose work I respect and work I've been following. And for me to actually just meet with them as a fan, as an admirer, was already like a win for me. And having the opportunity to speak with them and learn from them and get advice from them and guidance from them was massive for me. So having the opportunity to talk to them about my business and the opportunity for them to show an interest in my business was just beyond awesome. So I spent basically February meeting with potential investors, and by the first week of March, I had investors in the bag.
Boom! Yes!
And it was great.
Wasn't it? I remember her walking in here, and we didn't have the bell up there. If we did, then I would have been ringing it
really loudly.
Because it's so exciting. It's so exciting to journey with someone and just watch them come into their own. It's just been amazing, though.
And for me personally, the growth that I've undergone in these last few months, and just the learning experience that I've had in the last year. I think I've crammed into the last year what a lot of people cram into a 4-year degree. Maybe even a 5-year degree. So you can teach yourself a lot of things from books, but ultimately, go talk to the people who's successful in the things that you want to become successful in and learn from them directly there. I personally didn't have the, I don't want to say I didn't have the opportunity. I did have the opportunity to study, but I didn't have the space to go and study a business degree or to go and go on that track. So I had to find a different way. And for me, it was learning directly from people.
I love that. So you learned. It was just a different platform of learning, but you learned. Madeline, we see you. I've got a little bit of a cold, guys. So
hi, Madeline. Thanks for joining.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. You have shared so much love. I think I keep saying this. I'm so proud of you. You did the things. You did all of the things.
Hey, I'm still busy doing the things. Lots and lots of things to be doing.
But I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, and that means so much to me. For me on a personal level, one of my big drivers is to, achievement is one thing, and ticking off the list and ticking off the goals is one thing. But for me, making people I admire proud, it's like a fix for me.
So talk to me a little bit about the difference between starting out, and now you are in a building phase, right? You're in a scaling phase.
Yeah.
What's the big difference? Just that one thing. Because now you're recruiting, she's moved into offices, she's no longer in coffee shops, she's got an office, guys.
I've got an actual office with the name on the door. Locum base is there with the logo and everything. The day the logo went up, the day the signage went up.
Yeah.
Amazing. Awesome. Celebrate the small things. Don't forget to celebrate the small things. It's very, very important to celebrate the small wins every time.
Mm-hmm.
But to answer your question, the difference, the main difference, only one thing.
What's that one thing? I think for you, it's trust your people.
Yeah, trust your people and be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's that. Because when you're in the startup phase, when you're starting out, it's like moving to a new city. It's all really exciting and it's like everything goes really quickly and it's amazing. Yeah. But then the scaling up part, like after you've secured investment and once you're in that alpha phase, as they call it, or in that launch phase, your focus needs to be different. Yeah. Your focus needs to be on trusting your team, trusting the people that you've chosen to help you build this thing and make this thing work. It's not easy, especially if you've done most of the work in the initial period by yourself. Yeah. It's very hard to then let go.
But it's so important.
But it's important because you're only one person and you can only do so much in 24 hours. And if there are two people, it's 48 hours that you can push into 24 hours. So the more people you have, the exponentially your effect can be. Your effect can be exponential if you have more people.
Oh, absolutely. And you can go surfing and hiking and enjoy life.
The weather. Not today. So I would say you're right. Trust your people and be consistent. Be consistent with your messaging, because now you also need to trust your customers. You also need to trust the clients and the test group that you've been working with thus far. Be consistent with your communication and your messaging. Yeah, trust your people. Trust the people you trust.
I am extremely proud of you, but two, so excited to see this grow, for it to go continental, for it to go global. You are going to take over the world. Watch this go, guys. Watch this space.
I use my powers for good.
And that's what I love. That's what I love about you, that it's not about the money. It's not about the wealth that you will eventually create. Yeah, I can see that as well. But it's about the impact. For you, it's always been about the impact and creating an ecosystem for the locals that just improves their lives, that improves the lives of the practitioners. So I love that.
It's really a very simple formula of empowering. If you empower people and make them feel valued, you will get the best out of them. And if we are building something that empowers medical professionals to get the best care out of them for practices and for patients. Practices win, their bottom line wins, their patients are happier. Patients win because they've got great positive experience with their practitioner. And ultimately, in the long run, the standard of healthcare can be raised. Yes. And that is the mission.
So yes to the standard of healthcare.
Yeah, it's going up, and that's something that we so desperately need. I mean, especially with everything going on at the moment, but it's always there. It's always been a problem. So we have to make a change. We have to have a great effect. And it's not about the money. The money will come. It's not about the money. It's about the change that needs to happen, and being willing to do what needs to happen to create that change.
Ooh, I like that.
You get to wake up every day and you get to choose. You get to choose how you use your energy and how you use your power. Yeah. And you can choose to use your power for bad. You can choose to just not use your power at all. But ultimately, you can choose to use your power for good. Yeah,
I love that. So let's leave it on that note. So people, go out and use your power for good. Yes,
use your power for good.
Thank you, Zulé. Let me give you the hug.
Thank you. It was great.
Oh, thank you, love.
It was good to see you.
So proud of you.
It feels good. It feels so good.
Thanks, love.
Thank you.